When you come into the lab on a cooking day, you're going to come and first get 2 clean dish towels and 2 clean dishcloths. The dish towels are the big ones. You need one, well, you're going to get 2 of them so that 2 people can help to dry the dishes. Towels, as you will see, are the bigger ones. Think of it like taking a shower. You use a towel to dry off your body. Dishcloths are the smaller ones. These, you can think of it as like a washcloth. You wash your face with it, so we wash our dishes with it. So you get 2 dishcloths and 2 dish towels. The reason you get 2 dishcloths is one is for washing the dishes, another one is for wiping the tables and counters. You also will get 1 hand towel. Hand towels look like this, and they have a button on them so that you can hang them under the sink, and obviously you're going to use them to dry your hands on. You button the hand towel, like so, right underneath the sink, so that it's right there handy. After you wash your hands, you can dry your hands on the hand towel. We dry our hands on the hand towel so that our germs stay there, and we do not dry our hands on the dish towel because that is specifically for drying dishes. We don't want to put our germs all over the dish towels. If your hair touches your shoulders, you do have to tie all of your hair back. So that you don't have any loose pieces hanging out. After you have tied back your hair, you need to use hand soap and wash your hands for 20 seconds. 20 seconds is a long time. It's enough time for you to sing the alphabet slowly or the happy birthday song. So make sure that you're rubbing in between your fingers, the backs of your hands, your fingernails. "20 seconds is a long time. Next, you're going to fill your sink with hot, soapy water. You may need to let the water run for a little bit to make sure that it gets hot. You only need about 1 teaspoon of dish soap. Now, I don't expect you to actually measure 1 teaspoon, but I want you to see that it's not that much. Please don't be wasteful of the dish soap. If you need more later, you can certainly add it, but just start out with about 1 teaspoon. So we're going to fill the sink with about 3 inches of hot water. 3 inches is about, each joint of your finger is about 1 inch, so 3 inches of hot water. And you can see 1 teaspoon of soap is making a lot of bubbles. Okay, then I'm going to wet my dishcloth, and before I get started cooking, I'm going to take my dishcloth, wring it out, and wipe all of my tables and counters before I get started. You want to wipe all of the counters and tables before you start so that you make sure that you get all of the germs and any dirt off before you get started. If you have any excess food on the plate, make sure you scrape all the extra food into the trash can and not into the sink. Get as much of the food as you can off the plate. Be careful when you're scraping that you don't splatter food around onto the floor, because then you will have to clean that up. So make sure that you don't do that. Get as much out as you can to save yourself more rinsing and washing. Here's some leftover chicken noodle soup. When I was talking about scraping the food into the trash, obviously you do not want to dump a bunch of liquid into the trash can. So if you have a situation like this, dump it in your colander to get all the excess liquid out. And then you can take and dump this into the trash. But please do not dump a lot of liquid into the trash cans. Okay, after you've scraped your dishes into the trash, then you want to rinse them and get as much of the food off as you can. And note that we have a sink for rinsing and a sink for washing. Do not rinse the extra food over your dishwashing sink, because then you get all that water dirty. We want to keep the dishwashing water as clean as long as possible. So you rinse over the rinsing sink. Then you do have to kind of cross paths. Ideally, our kitchens would be set up so that this sink was the one that could hold water, but that's not the way our kitchens are set up. So you can use a dishcloth or your hand. Get all the extra food that's still stuck on there rinsed off. If you stacked your plates, then you should rinse off the bottom as well to get any food off the bottom. Okay, now I have a stack of plates over here that look pretty clean. A little speck of food there. But now I'm ready to wash these plates in my hot soapy dishwater. Sometimes when we're baking or when we're cooking, we use a lot of fat products. This is vegetable shortening, which is fat made from vegetables, and it's been hydrogenated, which means they've added hydrogen, and it makes a liquid into a solid. So now I have some solid fat on my measuring cup, and again, it's important, don't put this right into your hot soapy water, because then you get your dishwater all greasy. So you want to rinse it again with hot water. Remember, we're always using hot water to get that fat out instead of dumping it into your dishwater. So use hot water to melt that fat away. And it takes a little bit of rubbing and takes hot water to get it to melt. Once you have that fat melted away, then you can put it in your dishwater. After you've rinsed your dishes, if you do have particles of food in your rinsing sink, go ahead and get that food out before you start to wash your dishes and then rinse the soap off in here. So get this sink cleaned out before we start using it for rinsing the final rinse. When you're washing your dishes, make sure you get using hot water. Wash the inside and the outside of everything. All your pans, all your plates, the handles. You can't just wash the inside or the top of the plate. You have to wash inside and outside. And then notice I rinsed in hot water and put it in the dish rack. Now, as my sink starts to become pretty full, I may switch the rinse over there. So I'll wash on this side. We can turn the hot water off to save water until we need it. Washing the bottom, washing the top. Turn the water back on, rinse, top and bottom, and put it in my dish rack to let it drain while I go to the next one. Now, you could have a friend help you when you're washing. You could have a lab partner take what you've just washed from you, and they could rinse it for you so that you can keep washing. Let it drip. keep moving. Now, if you have any things that have like burnt on or caked on food, you should fill them with hot soapy water and let them soak while you're eating or finishing the rest of your recipe. Silverware, you need to wash the part that you eat off of as well as the handle. Rinse, put it in there, until you have all of your dishes done. As you're washing your dishes, when you have a lot of dishes to do, this water is still nice and clean looking, but as you're washing your dishes, if your water starts to look dirty and you wouldn't want to take a bath in it, then you shouldn't be washing your dishes in it. So if you do need to change your water, take the plug out, drain the water, and fill it up again and start new. Okay, after you have dishes that need to be dried, make sure you dry them inside and outside. And then, as you're drying your dishes, make sure that your counter has been wiped again and it's clean. And then you'll spread your dishes out on the counter for me, because this makes it easier when I come and do your dish check. Dry the inside and the outsides very well. Again, that's why we have 2 dish towels, so you can have 2 people working on it and get it done faster. And then if you have similar items, like all my plates, you can certainly dry those and stack those up in a pile. You don't have to have everything spread out all over the counter. Have your similar items stacked. This way, after you get all of your dishes washed and completely dry, when they're spread out on the counter and I come to do a final check, it's much faster. So after all your dishes are clean and dry, do not put your dishes away. You need to call your instructor for a dish check. When you're putting all of your dishes away, make sure that you are putting all of the equipment back in the proper place. There's a container for measuring equipment, and this is an offset spatula, or a flat edge spatula. It goes in measuring equipment because you use those to level off. We have mixing and preparation equipment. We have our cutlery. We have cutting boards and cutting equipment. So please take care and make sure that you get things that are used to cut with in the cutting equipment, things that are used for mixing and preparation in the mixing and preparation, and things that are used for measuring in the measuring. After your dishes have been inspected and have proved to be put away, then you can drain your water. Wipe all the counters again, because as you can see, it's very easy to get water splashed everywhere. So you're going to wipe all your counters again. Wipe the oven. You can see things just get spilled, and water, spices, etc. get spilled in the oven, on the range, I should say. This is the back. Wipe the back of the oven. Wipe the microwave, the front of the microwave. Make sure you get all of the dirt off of the outside. Inside, if you used the microwave, make sure that you have wiped thoroughly the inside door. the bottom. And if you did use the microwave, you'll want to take this glass plate out and wash it as well. Okay, once you've put your dishes away, had your final check, you're going to need to pick up the dish rack and dump it out. You can see there will be a lot of water that runs off. You'll need to wipe underneath the dish rack because water puddles up under there. And then you'll pop this apart. It's okay with me if you don't actually put it together tight when you're done. If you just put it back loosely, it's fine. And you're going to dry this off as well. Because what happens is if we leave water in here all the time, then it starts to mildew. And we don't want that. So wipe dry under there again. Put this back. Then we need to dry the sink and all the area behind the sink. You'll see that water gets easily splashed back in the back. And the sink is all wet. There's soap in this sink. So we just take the dish towels, because we've done our dishes now, and we dry behind the sink, around the handles, back here. You want all of the water completely gone. Dry the sink out. The reason for this is that if there's any extra food or grease in there that you may have missed, then we're wiping it all up in one. So that sink is great. Now we need to do the soapy side. If you want to rinse the bubbles down first, you can. You could just wipe them out. I'll get my second dish towel at this point to finish wiping out and drying up my sink. Then, once you have done all of that, you will call all your dishes have been put away, your counters and sink, behind the sink, the mat, under the mat, the stove top, everything is completely clean and dry. Then you will call your teacher for your final inspection. Once you've had your final inspection, your instructor has improved your kitchen, everything is great, then you will take your hand towel off, and you will take all of your dishcloths, your dish towels. After your final inspection, you will take all of this and put it in the dirty basket over by the closet. After your final inspection and you've been approved, everything's clean and dry, you bring your towels over and put them in the basket marked dirty laundry here. Your instructor will wash and dry all of the dishcloths and dish towels for you. After you have put all of your things away in your kitchen and you've had your final check, come over to this corner underneath the flag. You will find the food lab file. This is where you file all of your paperwork for your food lab. There are hanging files for each period. And then within each period's file, there are color-coded lab kitchen files. So this is period 2, kitchen 1, period 2, kitchen 3. Period 2, kitchen 4. So you put the manager, who is responsible for all the paperwork, makes sure that your papers get put in this folder. The 3 papers that you will always have are, this is your score sheet, currently has a 40-point checklist. This is your job rotation chart, which you use to rotate the jobs so that the same person isn't always the dishwasher or the dish dryer. You rotate your jobs. And you will always have a recipe. So you always will have 3 pieces of paper getting filed. Sometimes there'll be more, depending on the lab and what we're doing, but you would make sure these papers are complete and file them in the appropriate file within your period.